Hi there, welcome back to True Gooner. Now firstly, as you can see, I'm wearing the brand new Arsenal kit, which I got last week. Lovely, beautiful kit, and hopefully it will bring success for next season. Now in this video here, as you probably know by now, or for those of you who don't, the fixtures, the Premier League fixtures for the new season have been released today. And I'm going to go through Arsenal's fixtures for next season, Premier League fixtures, to see my thoughts on it and how I think we can plan the season. So this is how it is. And just to let you know, at the moment they're all scheduled for Saturday, 3 o'clock. The weekend ones are, but of course that's going to change due to the TV deal. Now I'm going to use my trusted phone, and as you can see, I'm going to use my trusted phone as I've got the fixtures here, and I'm going to go through them. And here we go. Our first game, starting on the 13th of August, is a massive game at home to Liverpool at the Emirates. Now, what a game to start. Ideally, I would have wanted a home game, but probably not a hard one. But obviously, an Arsenal-Liverpool game is always a hard fixture. I know we have a very good record against Liverpool at the Emirates, but of course it's a match you can never take for granted. Of course, it's going to be a really difficult one. It'll be a very good game, hopefully. Arsene Wenger against Jurgen Klopp. It'll be interesting to see how we come on top. But Arsenal can win the game, but we have to be at our best, of course, because this fixture is never an easy fixture despite our record against them. So first game is Arsenal versus Liverpool. And then the following week, another big game. This is away to the champions, away at Leicester. It'll be interesting to see where Jamie Vardy ends up. Hopefully he ends up at the Gunners, but we'll have to wait and see. That story rumbles on. But our second game is away to Leicester. And then on the final week of August, we have a away game away at Watford. So the month of it's a tough start, I have to say, but if Arsenal get off to a good start, maybe a tough start might be good for them because we've had easier starts in recent years and not necessarily got off to the best. So maybe if we get off to a good start, then we could be in a good position by the end of August. And then we have an international break, and into now to the month of September. On the 10th of September, we have a home game to Southampton, winnable game. However, we didn't beat them last season at the Emirates. And then the following week, away to Hull. Hard one, but winnable game. And then the following week, the final week of September, is a big one at home to Chelsea. Now, obviously, we haven't had a good record against Chelsea, but maybe this is the time to do it. No Mourinho, remember? So maybe this could be the time to beat them. Seriously, let's beat Chelsea. It'll be a hard one, but let's beat them. And then we come into the month of October. And on the 1st of October, we have an away trip to Burnley. And then it's an international break. Then on the 15th of October, we have Swansea at home. Now, this is a fixture. They are our bogey team, pretty much. We got an awful record against them, especially at the Emirates. We've only beaten them once at the Emirates. We've lost to them 3 times and got 1 draw. Now, this is the time, hopefully, to beat them. And then after that, we have a home trip to newly promoted Middlesbrough. And then the following week, an away trip to Sunderland. Now, obviously, of course, that's always a difficult game, but we can win that. So October's not really a bad month. October's definitely a winnable month where we can put a run of wins together. And then the first week of November, the 5th of November, we have our big one, Spurs at home, the North London derby. Now, we've not won any of the last 4 derbies. Now, this is the time where we end that. So come on, Arsenal, let's beat Spurs, and Gooners, make sure you have your planners ready for that big day, the 5th of November. And then it's an international break after that. Then straight after that, we have a very hard game, an away trip to Manchester United, Old Trafford. we have an absolutely dreadful record there. We've not won there in the league for 10 years. And it's going to be even harder this year with Jose Mourinho there. So he's going to make them strong. Very, very hard game that will be. Ugh. Let's try and end it this time. And then the week after that, we have a home trip to Bournemouth. Winnable game. So November is a hard month. Spurs away and Spurs at home, and Manchester United away in November. Now when we come into December, this is a pivotal month. On the 3rd of December, we have an away trip to West Ham at their new Olympic Stadium. So hopefully Gooners get tickets for that, because it'll be a nice trip to their new Olympic Stadium. Then on the 10th of December, Stoke at home, winnable game. And then we have a midweek game away at Everton. Now obviously that's always a very hard game, but not last year. We beat them quite comfortably last year, but that's always going to be a difficult game. And of course they have a new manager, Ronald Koeman, a manager who I wouldn't have minded seeing at Arsenal, but so that will always be a hard game, but we can win that, of course, if we're at our best. And then it gets harder. On the 17th of December, that same week, we have an away trip to Man City. Pep Guardiola's Man City. Now, of course, we do have a very good record against Man City. We got a draw there last year. We won there the year before. But of course, this is Pep Guardiola, and obviously hard game. But play our best. Of course, we can win. Of course, you can beat any one of these if we play our best. Arsenal on the day can beat anyone, but that, I'll have to say, is going to be the hardest fixture of the season. And then on Boxing Day, we have a home trip to West Brom. And then on New Year's Eve, we have a home trip to Crystal Palace. So December is quite hard, but I will say it's always a very hard month to get through December. But it's not a bad month. It's definitely, if we're in a good position by then it'll be good. Now on to the new year and on to the second half of the season. On the 2nd of January, we have an away trip to Bournemouth. Winnable game. And then the week after is the first FA Cup round. Then the 14th of January, we have an away trip to Swansea. Now, of course, once again, hard game. I know we beat them quite comfortably there last season, but of course, always going up to Wales will be difficult. So, then the week after, we have a home trip to Burnley, winnable game. And then a week after, we have a home trip to Watford, winnable game. So January it's not a bad month, but that's a month where we have to pick up the possible maximum points. Now it starts to get tricky as we enter into February. 4th of February, we have an away trip to Chelsea. Now, we have a terrible record at Stamford Bridge, an absolutely terrible record, but it's no Jose Mourinho anymore. But of course, you cannot underestimate Conte and that lot. He's a very good manager, so that always expects a hard game. Because they're probably going to be back next season, unfortunately. 11th of February, we have a home trip to Hull. And then the 25th of February, we have an away trip to Southampton. Now, of course, you all know what happened there last season and the season before. Southampton is really not one of our favourite grounds, but if you want to win the Prem, you have to be winning at those places. Now we enter into March. Then we have Liverpool away at Anfield, a very hard game. Then the following week, we have a home game to Leicester. So winnable game, and of course Jamie Vardy will be interesting to see where he ends up. Week after that, we have an away trip to West Brom. You got beaten there last year, so it's a hard one. Now we enter into April, the final couple months. 1st of April, a home trip to Man City. So we have a home game against Man City. Of course, like I said earlier, Pep Guardiola, hard game. And then we have a midweek game that same week against West Ham. They beat us at the Emirates last season, so it's going to be hard. Then the 8th of April, away trip to Crystal Palace. a winnable game, but it'll be a hard one. Then the following week, away trip to newly promoted Middlesbrough. Hard one, but I remember when Middlesbrough were back in the Prem not long ago. I remember they used to beat us quite a few times at there, so expect a hard game then. And then the following week we have a home trip to Sunderland, winnable game. And then the last week of April is the other North London derby, this time at their place. So of course that's always going to be a tense, hard and fierce game. Now, I'm looking at these last three fixtures and I'm like, it's really hard, but supposing if we're in a title challenge, then, supposing if we were, or a top four challenge, well, of course, I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, come on, fixtures, but it's done now. Because on the 6th of May, we have a home trip to Manchester United. Obviously, Wenger's not got a good record against Mourinho. However, we did destroy United at the Emirates, but of course it's going to be under Jose Mourinho. And then the second to last game, we have an away trip to Stoke. Now, as we all know, that's definitely not one of our favourite grounds, but this has to be a time now where we have to end that. It's about time we end that and get a win there. And then our final game on the 21st of May is a home trip to Everton, which is a winnable game. We did win there last season and the season before, but it's always going to be a hard one. So I'm looking at this fixture list and I'm saying, obviously the start is hard. We have a hard November. We have a very hard end to the season. So it's a pretty tricky one this year. But I'm like saying, if Arsenal can go, it's very important now we go out there and make the right signings, then we can challenge. But we have to go out there and make the right signings. It's very crucial. Because obviously next season is going to be really hard with all these new managers and the kit do, and I think every other team is pretty much going to be stronger. So hopefully this is a wake-up call for Arsenal to do their business nice and early and get the season up and running. And obviously for the Liverpool game, we might be without the likes of Mesut Ozil, Hector Bellerin, supposing if they do well in the Euros and get to the final. But like I said, of course I want them to do well, but yeah. So that's been my view on the fixture list. Let me know your views on the fixture list. What do you think of them? Do you think we can do well? Do you think, which games are you most looking forward to? Of course, I'm looking forward to the first game. I'm looking forward to the North London derbies. I'm looking forward to the Manchester City games with Pep Guardiola. So let me know which games you're looking forward to, and let me know what you think of the whole of the fixture list, because I must admit, every time when the fixture list comes out for the Premier League, I always start to get a bit excited so we can plan our season, plan our dates, and yeah. So that's been another video of mine. Get your comments in the section below, and if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and I'll be speaking to you very soon. And come on, you Reds!